We all see electric scooters everywhere, from downtown sidewalks to college campuses. But as ridership increases, so do the number of injuries. And many people aren't sure what their rights are when something goes wrong. So joining us today is personal injury attorney Sinas, who is here to walk us through what riders really need to know. Stephen, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, so let's start with the basics with these scooters. What rules do riders need to follow to stay safe and, of course, legal on these electric scooters?
So there are now laws here in Michigan regarding these scooters. They're actually referred to as electric skateboards in the law, which
really?
is kind of a funny little fact. But ultimately, the laws say that we have to ride as close to the right as possible. We can't ride two together. Only one person can be on a scooter. You can't be drunk while operating a scooter. The scooters are programmed not to go over a certain speed, but there are speed limits that can apply to scooters. And ultimately, there's a state law that makes these standards the law of the land, so to speak, but there's also local ordinances that can apply in the city you're in. So there are laws, and basically you need to operate a scooter with the same kind of responsibility and diligence as you would a motor vehicle.
No, that makes sense, and great information right there. So who is responsible when there is a scooter crash?
The principle of negligence really applies here, and negligence says you have to use reasonable care in what you're doing. So if you're operating a scooter, you have to use reasonable care in the operation of that scooter. So you could be found at fault if you're riding that scooter in a way that violates Michigan law, if you're operating it unreasonably given the circumstances, but other people could be at fault too, who cause this person on the scooter to be injured. It could be another motor vehicle, it could be another pedestrian. So we look at all the facts and circumstances to determine who's at fault in a scooter crash.
Now, what about insurance? Because how does insurance coverage work for injuries involving, of course, a scooter?
Insurance coverage can be a lot more complicated. So if you're injured on a scooter and it involves the action of a motor vehicle, you'll have rights under the Michigan No-Fault Insurance Act that would need to be pursued. If there's not a motor vehicle, then it's a matter of what insurance coverage you may have for yourself. If some other party's at fault, you could potentially pursue a liability claim and get coverage for your medical expenses there. So insurance coverage can be a lot more complicated with scooters just because of the way in which people can be injured on them and around them.
No, that makes sense. So what should someone do if they are injured in a scooter crash?
You want to collect information. You want to pursue medical attention, obviously. You want to make sure you get all the information of all the parties involved and then pursue your insurance claims. And ultimately, it can be very complicated. So I know I'm a lawyer, so it might sound like I'm shilling for a case, but I do recommend that people who are seriously injured really look through their legal rights because they're complicated and they can make a big difference on their road to recovery.
Right, absolutely, and that's what you need, someone who knows more and can help you, as you mentioned, on that road to recovery. So thank you so much for this information and really breaking it down for all of us here. So for more information about Sinas Dramis, the information is at the bottom of your screen, but thank you so much for always coming in.
Thank you.